Tonight, a Call 7 Investigators exclusive. Federal buildings right here in Colorado could be at risk. The concern, performance of a private firm paid millions of dollars to protect government buildings in Colorado. Call 7 investigator John Ferrugia has been tracking that company. And John, there are some serious questions about how well trained these people are.
That's right, Mike. AM-Gard is a private security firm that has had the government contract for years to guard federal office buildings in Colorado. Now, we've been looking into the company's track record with regard to training and certification of its security guards. And what we found even surprised us.
This is the federal office building right here.
They are the first line of defense.
Of the federal government.
Armed guards paid by your tax dollars.
What is this place?
This is Federal Center.
The Federal Center?
Hired to protect government offices, including the 600-acre Federal Center in Lakewood, the Cesar Chavez building in Denver, as well as the federal courts, offices of the FBI, FEMA, and the Social Security Administration.
These are higher target facilities than your average business.
But current and former employees of AM-Gard claim not all the guards are as fully trained as their federal contract requires. And they say managers of AM-Gard know it.
With the lack of training, there's a good chance that someone's going to get hurt.
You guys cops? Security. Oh, okay.
Using undercover cameras, Call 7 investigators tracked this group of AM-Gard workers scheduled for baton training. The government contract requires and pays for 8 hours. We found them going home before noon.
It's supposed to be 8 hours, and you do 5, and some of them, yeah. Some of them.
And is that routine?
Happens all the time.
AM-Gard's contract requires under no circumstances shall the instructor provide less than 40 hours of training for recertification.
So you get half the training.
Right.
Our investigation into AM-Gard training and operations found open security gates at the Federal Center at times when they're supposed to be closed. Guards sent to new posts without any training for that specific location.
Actually, I work downtown.
Oh, okay.
So I don't ever work the gates.
And guards in southern Colorado who weren't qualified to carry guns.
In fact, all of them had been pulled off their posts because AM-Gard had let their certifications expire for their weapons qualification.
James Carney is president of the Union for the Federal Security Guards, including at one time AM-Gard workers.
We've reported all this stuff to the Department of Homeland Security, to their contracting group, and you know, they don't care about it. Nobody seems to care.
Do you think the lack of training creates a huge loophole in security?
A huge one, yes I do.
Ed Borrella worked for AM-Gard, operating the X-ray machine used at the entrances to some federal buildings and offices.
But you were never trained to do it?
I never was trained.
An arbitrator determined Borrella was unjustly fired by AM-Gard after an incident with the X-ray linked to his lack of training.
They gave me a phony certificate.
He's talking about this certificate from AM-Gard. It shows he had completed all training requirements for the line scan. He says he didn't.
And they knew that?
They knew that, oh yes.
Well, how'd you get their certificate?
I was given that by the person that signed it.
Patricia Larson?
Yes.
And who's Patricia Larson?
Patricia Larson is the contract manager of AM-Gard. She's the one that oversees the contract.
I'm John Ferrugia. I'd like to know if you could talk to me a little bit about
No, sir, I cannot.
training and certification. Patricia Larson and her bosses refused our repeated requests for an interview, so we went to her.
Curtis, call the police.
We wanted to ask about the alleged phony certificates and why AM-Gard is billing the government for training hours that apparently were never completed. Do you think the company has a good track record for going for this contract? Can you talk to me about this? We've tried to talk to you for several weeks.
In a post 9/11 environment, there's nothing more important right now than making sure that the security officers are doing the job and doing it right.
Now, AM-Gard recently received a contract extension from the Department of Homeland Security stretching into next year. We've repeatedly called the owner of AM-Gard in Pittsburgh asking for a response to these questions. Company lawyers say AM-Gard has no comment. And we also called that AM-Gard employee who was at the training session asking why the group left early. Well, he hung up on us.
Well, so what about the Department of Homeland Security? One guy there says, well, they just don't care. I mean, what are they saying about the allegations?
Well, we've called them, Mike, and federal officials say they are going to review our story and take appropriate action if warranted. After seeing our story tonight, officials say they may have more to say on this tomorrow. We're also going to hear from a member of Congress who has some serious concerns about what this investigation has uncovered.
There are a lot of concerns there. All right, thanks very much.
Be back tomorrow.
If you have a story for John or any of our investigators, give us a call at 303-832-7777 or go to thedenverchannel.com and click on News Tips.